Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lucore Automotive. Today we're talking Ford stuff. No more Pontiac and Chevy and all that other stuff. Today we're talking Fords. As you can see behind me, I have a Ford. This is a 4.6 liter dual overhead cam aluminum motor. And specifically we're going to talk about not really the project, not really all of this stuff, but how to make this engine attached to that transmission and the complications you may run into if you are doing a dual overhead cam Ford with an automatic behind it. Something we didn't know, and bumbled our way through this and found our answers. So, gonna lay a little bit of knowledge on you. If you're interested, this should be at least a little bit entertaining and definitely educational if you're interested in the Ford dual overhead cam motor world. So,
Teksid motors.
Yeah. Teksid and otherwise. So, stay tuned. We're going to give you guys some information. Quick little backstory. This is a 1995 Lincoln MKVIII Super Coupe. It came originally with a 4.6 liter dual overhead cam, all aluminum Teksid block V8. Okay? Very, very cool motor, very high tech, very complicated for what it was, especially in 1995. That motor is right here. For reasons we don't want to discuss in this current video, this motor had to come out of the car. It made some very bad noises.
Well, sadly, this story doesn't end well. Sounds like it's got a rod tapping in it. She's gonna need a motor.
Here's the real problem. It didn't make that noise when he dropped it off.
Oh, really? That's weird. It didn't have any oil in it when I got it. So.
Again, we don't want to talk about it. If you're interested, click on the little link up on the top and you guys can go watch exactly what happened here and why this motor had to come out of the car. But anyway, motor's out. We need a new motor to put in this car. Now, the Super Coupe is a kind of a unique little bird. There really wasn't much of anything else that ran that dual overhead cam 4.6 V8. Except in 1996, they ran it in the Ford Cobras. That's where this thing comes in. This is a 1996 Mustang Cobra motor. Essentially, as far as we knew, the same thing that was in a Mark VIII. It's a all aluminum Teksid block, 4.6 dual overhead cam, comes with sexy blue valve covers. It's a little bit different cam profile, but generally speaking, they are pretty much the same motors that came in these Lincolns. However, there's a complication because Cobras never came with automatic transmissions. They were always stick shift cars. So we needed to make sure we had a flex plate. Well, we had a flex plate, right? Because we have one that was in this car on that motor with that transmission, so we'll just transfer over the flex plate, right? Wrong. This is the old flex plate off of that old motor and that old torque converter. Count the holes. I'll give you a moment. There's 6. Okay? 6 holes. Yeah, no big deal. Just we'll bolt that on there and no big deal. Well, I'll give you a moment. Count the holes. So this does technically fit. However, there are 6 holes on this. And that's an 8-bolt crankshaft. That's a complication. So, because these Cobras never came with automatics, they never had flex plates, they had flywheels. So you can't look it up as a 1996 Ford Mustang and find or Cobra and find a flywheel or a flex plate for it. So, what else came with that 4.6 dual overhead cam in the Ford lineup? The answer is, like Lincoln trucks, the Navigator. No big deal. We'll get one of those coming. So we ordered a flex plate for a Lincoln Navigator. And that's this guy here. Actually, technically this is the second one. The first one we got, we had some complications with. Right box, wrong part. But this is a brand new Lincoln Navigator flex plate. It has 8 bolts. Bolt holes, whatever. And it bolts up to said engine. Then we have a resolution, right? Wrong. Because this has a totally different bolt pattern for the torque converter. What we actually needed was a flex plate that had bolt holes not here, but in here. So, back to the drawing board, right? What you can do is you can get either a flex plate that has the correct bolt holes for a 1996 Cobra with an automatic in it, which doesn't exist, or you can find yourself a flex plate that happens to have bolt holes for both the larger truck setup torque converter and the smaller car setup one, which we have found. Ta-da! This is from PRW. We've run a lot of PRW stuff over the years, and I have PRW stuff in that Pontiac, in my AMC, in the Big Block Mopar, all kinds of PRW stuff. Been pretty happy with their stuff. Nothing was in stock at Jegs. However, we called PRW and said, hey, do you guys actually have these on the shelf? They said yes, and send me one. So you can see here, this has multiple bolt patterns. Look at that. So this will bolt up to not only a truck, so a Lincoln Navigator or whatever else that runs the 4.6, but it will also mount up to that smaller torque converter that they have in the automatic transmissions in these cars. It has the 8 bolts, so it will bolt up to that. And Bob's your uncle, we have ourselves a solution. Now, we never would have known this was a problem. I never would have imagined this was an issue until we stumbled upon this. This was not anything in the homework that I had done on doing this swap that I had ever even imagined was going to be a problem. But it does kind of make sense. So, at the end of the day, this is not a flex plate for this car. And this is not a flex plate for this motor. What this is a flex plate for a 1999 or 2000 Mustang GT with an automatic transmission. And I'll give you the part number in case you happen to be somebody who's looking for this kind of thing. Part number is 1828111. It's from PRW. There you go. This is just kind of one of those lessons in hot rodding where you don't really know until you get there, and then you got to figure out a resolution. Unfortunately, the best laid plans don't always work out. But a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of poking around, you can figure out your resolution. So there you go. Now, I'm not sure exactly how many people this little bit of information is going to help. Let's be honest, there's probably not a lot of people building hot rod Lincolns. But these Teksid blocks are capable of incredible amounts of power. So anybody who's looking to do a hot rod 4.6 dual overhead cam all aluminum setup, I have seen those in hot rods, people running twin turbo kits on them, all kinds of stuff. This may be a good little piece of information. So if you happen to be one of those 3 or 4 people who are interested in that, there's some homework for you that you don't have to do yourself. So 4.6 dual overhead cam out of a 95, 6-bolt pattern off the crank, small bolt pattern torque converter. Unfortunately, that flywheel doesn't work, or flex plate does not work on the 96 Cobra. But you can get a 98.9 to 2000 Mustang GT 8-bolt flex plate with the smaller car bolt pattern. It will work between this and that. And we can put this car back together finally. Now, this whole story with this car is going to be another part of another episode. You'll see that here coming shortly. We just thought that this was something interesting and something that nobody would ever want to know. So we made it into a video, so you don't have to do this annoying homework. You will see a whole lot more with this Lincoln here in the very, very near future. It's really at that point in time where we could finally put this car back together. It's been a long process, but I think we've got all of our nightmares resolved, and this car is finally ready for that all important, put it back together, turn the key and see what happens kind of step. Because we honestly still have absolutely no idea what is inside this beast. Hopefully it works. Anyway, thanks for staying tuned. This is a quick little like intro, or I guess educational video on something that nobody ever wants to know about the dual overhead cam Ford motors. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Maybe it was educational, maybe it was a little bit entertaining. Probably not entertaining, but educational at least. And on to the next thing. Right behind me we have Rich working on the Pontiac transmission. That's how live things are here. This is not filmed on a green screen or way ahead of time. This is actually happening as you see it. Anyway, click on the subscribe button. Drop us a comment in the comment section below. Have you ever built one of these things? Have you ever done much with a 4.6 4-valve, especially the Teksid early generation motors? What are they truly capable of? I hear some absolutely just crazy numbers out of these things of what they're able to support. Have you ever built something like that? This is going to be kind of a mild build at this point in time, but knowing Craig, there's some potential for some other things in the near future. What can this thing really take? Technically, this is a 4.6 out of a 96 Cobra. What can it really take? It's not one of the Terminator motors, but it's basically a Terminator motor just made out of aluminum. At least as far as I know, or is that not correct? Anyway, help us out. Drop some information in the comment section below. What other nightmares might we run into that we don't realize quite yet? That would be nice to know. Click on the like button. You made it this far. If you're not subscribed already, subscribe. You're here. You should. We do cool stuff. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.